So as we prepare to do our first audio for the web production, I wanted to just give you a quick overview of some key best practices in recording audio for the web. Now, I want to be clear, this is not a comprehensive, detailed audio production lecture. We could literally do an entire semester on the complexities and nuances of audio production. So this is more of a crash course, and I'm really identifying and zooming in on just 2 or 3 key areas that I think can make an impact or difference for the context of this type of production in this class. The first thing to know is that there are lots of options that you have as far as which type of audio devices or apps to use to actually get audio recorded digitally. And this world has changed dramatically, really, in the last decade or so, with the popularity of smartphones. As you probably know, smartphones themselves have audio recording apps, oftentimes built right in, meaning you don't even have to download anything extra. You might, if you have a smartphone, you might want to double check and take a look at your iPhone or your Android device or whatever form of phone you have, just to double check to see if there's something built in. And if so, give it a quick test and see if that's acceptable to you. Alternatively, there are apps on the stores that you can get as well. Another option is direct to computer recording, meaning if you're at a desktop-based computer and you have a microphone or headset, literally you can record directly into the computer using an audio recording program such as Audacity. And that way the file is recorded directly and into the computer from the get-go. Of course, an alternative that is also quite popular is having some sort of handheld recorder. Before the era of smartphones, people actually had these dedicated audio recording devices. They're still out there and they're still being manufactured. So some of you may have access to those, although we're not providing them for you. You may want to look and see if there's one around, or if your family has one. You're certainly welcome to use that as well. We'll talk about that a little bit more in an upcoming slide. So whatever format you decide to use, whatever style of recording, whether it be a direct-to-computer, a smartphone app, or a handheld recorder, you definitely want to make sure that you're aware of what happens to the audio when it's recorded. Is it put into an audio file that is then transferable into a program? What file format does it save into? Do a quick test run and confirm that it's in a popular or mainstream audio file format such as .wav, .aiff, or of course the popular .mp3 formats. Those three are among the most popular types and also are supported by Audacity, which is a very common audio editing tool that we'll be using in this particular class. One side note is that if you use Audacity, to use MP3 formats, there is a plugin that you'll need to install for it, but we'll get to that later on. So make sure that you're aware of that, and also how would you get the audio file from one to the other. So perhaps if it's recorded on a smartphone device, you can either upload it or put it in an email or Dropbox and then get it on the computer, email it to yourself. Maybe there's a transfer cable, maybe there's an SD card. Just make sure you're aware of how you're going to get that audio file into the audio edit program. Okay, let's talk about a few best practices in using whichever form of recording device that you choose to use. Excuse me. One of the common things, this goes back pre-smartphones, pre-digital era, is there's a best practice that you want to be aware of, which is thinking about the placement of the microphone in relationship to you, the person doing the recording. And what you want to avoid is something called popping your P's, popping the P's. And that is where you are too close to the microphone, and certain types of words that when you articulate them have a puff of air to them, such as the letters P, B, or T. If you're really close to the microphone, that can sometimes cause the recording to not go as you would expect. It'll cause some distortion, a quick pop sound, thus the term popping the P's. I don't know if I'll simulate it here. I'll test this out, but I'm going to put the mic up close to me, and if I pop the P's like that, you're probably hearing a little bit of distortion, right? Because it was really, really close. So you want to be aware of that. One thing that some audio recordings engineers do is they'll use what's called a windscreen. It's a foam cap of sorts that you can actually place right on top of the recorder or the microphone. And it essentially just fits snugly on top of that, and what it will do is help filter out unwanted noise. Actually, and the other thing too is wind. If you're outside and it's a windy day, your ears may not hear the wind in a way that distorts the audio, but it actually gets recorded very annoyingly. So be aware of that. Also, different recording devices have different what are called pickup patterns, and you want to be aware of those. If you're really candidly for this class, it's probably not something you'll need to worry about too much, but in professional recording, people pay great attention to which type of microphone pickup pattern that they're using. Things like that you can see listed here. So there's omnidirectional, which means that it records with equal clarity everything from all sides. When you point the mic at somebody, it doesn't matter front, behind, back, forward, up, down. It records everything. Bidirectional, which is just in front and behind. Cardioid, which is sort of a heart-shaped recording device where most of the emphasis is on the direction in which the microphone is pointed, with a little bit of pickup to the right and left, even slightly behind, as you can see in the pickup pattern right here. And then hypercardioid, which is a little bit of a slightly different heart shape, including more pickup from behind. That's what distinguishes it from a cardioid shape. And then, again, I don't expect us to use this in this class, but there are shotgun mics, and these are used often in film production, where these are very, very sensitive, very unidirectional, single-directional microphone types that basically go wherever you point them to a greater distance than you would expect. So you can see that the pickup pattern here goes further out. So again, used for very more detailed productions. So get your microphone as close to the source as possible. Do a test run whenever you're going to record in the environment, even using a smartphone or a small handheld device. Don't just hit record and go and assume it's good. You need to do a double check before you finish off that production interview. You want to make sure that you do a test run in the environment, and then play it back. Make sure that the audio quality and volume level is what you expect, and then you can conduct the interview in that location. I actually would recommend to you, if possible, get the interview subjects to, if you're doing a desktop-based computer recording, bring them to that location, just somewhere where you can control the environment so it's less noisy, less interference, etc. Even directional microphones will pick up a little bit of sound from all directions. So in general, the closer you get, the better. Just be aware of the sort of things like popping the P's, etc. The other big tip to be aware of is eliminating the competition. Always think about where you are located, what is competing for, in terms of noise and sounds that might cause, the main subject to be drowned out. It can be unwanted noise or just the environmental noise. So noise we define as things that are causing, unexpected or unwanted noise into the environment. It could be traffic if you're outside on a busy street. It actually can be an air conditioner, or even in a kitchen, a refrigerator running has the mechanical noises. You may, with your normal human ears, may not hear the hums or the buzzes that the computer or the smartphone or the recorder would pick up. So you want to be aware of that. And even, of course, loud environments. If you're in a sports game in a crowded stadium, or in a crowded hall or kitchen or dining hall, obviously they're going to be very loud. There's a lot of bounce and echo in those environments. And so ambience rather, is where we see the live nature of the room you're in as an unwanted echo. So you want to think about that. Personally, I would say if you are recording on location and you have the capacity to do so, try to get your subject matter for an audio-only recording. Try to get them in a place that's a little more quiet. Maybe bring them into a small room. Don't just stay out in a large environment. Now, again, we're not doing a professional, higher-end training here. I mean, there's some engineers who might talk a little bit about how you can use the live audio to your advantage, and there's all sorts of things you can do to sort of bring alive the environment, etc. But I think for the purposes of this class, the quick and dirty of it is that if you can control the environment, it's probably to your advantage for this type of class. So just whatever you can do to eliminate the problem and place the mic as close to the subject as possible. That's pretty much it.